Ascendant Lands. Last time we left off, you managed to work your way through the intricacies of Helm City's lifestyle and make your way up the make your way up to the ancient temple of Bahamut, facing a small trial of sorts for Turygurtha and Krusk. Upon arriving at the top of the mountain, you were within clouds and within snowfall, and upon entering through the gates, a huge platinum dragon comes down and, with one flap of their wings, clears the sky to the beautiful, clear night sky above you, seeing the stars and the moon there leaving you all in wonder of wonderful moonlight. We continue the session with Bahamut greeting you all. Welcome. This is the ancient temple of Bahamut. You have all faced many trials, many tribulations, but for two of you, I've placed upon a most daunting task, one of which to come here. Out of all the many miles you've traveled, you've arrived. I thank you. And I must admit, I am impressed with the journey you have made. Thank you. With a as he like sits back up onto his like hind feet, stretches out those wings again, and flaps, whooshing you all in within a large, heavy gust of wind, and the shape of Bahamut shrinks down into that of a more mortal form. And then Bahamut says, "I believe this visage will make any discussions more palatable. Welcome."
It's really good to see you.
Congratulations, both. Looking at Turygurtha and Krusk.
Thank you, Bahamut. It's
anyone-
an honour to meet you in person after finally.
If anyone's looking, Tury's like tearing up a little bit. Frozen tears. Really good to see you. I guess we go in.
Wait, he's outside.
You entered.
Oh,
You're inside.
Yeah, we already went in.
oh, okay.
As we went in, this happened.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
presuming there's like
Yes.
a courtyard. I'm presuming we've entered some kind of courtyard without a roof.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Very
okay.
much.
Fair enough. Okay. I guess we ask him about the whole Bane thing. Go on then, Tury. You're the
Right. So Bahamut, well, as you probably already know and have seen by myself and Krusk's actions, we have looked for clues, evidence against Bane to show that he is interfering in the ascendancy. I think we found a few good things so far, but I think we need more. And I guess we ask for some guidance as one who brings justice. What more can we do? Where else could you point us?
Very good questions, Turygurtha. And I believe those questions we can look to answering. But first, I believe there is a couple of things in order. As you both have successfully arrived here, you have completed your pilgrimage with a gives you another expanding of his hands, and you feel like the obligation to follow the oath that you had agreed with Bahamut lifted.
Sure, take off my nose.
Thank you for coming this way, following that oath. I do believe it must not have been easy to turn from your previous ways to follow this one. And as an ultimate gift for you both for coming here, following that oath, I feel that you have earned a just reward. Bahamut comes first to Krusk. I am happy with how you've journeyed thus far and happy with how you've applied yourself. I believe you actually have an old friend of mine, nodding to the sword at your hip.
Ah, yes, he's also become my friend actually. And we spent a lot of time traveling together.
Very good. Krusk, please draw your sword.
I'll yeah, I'll draw it and kind of hold it out, sort of thing.
Yep. Thank you, Krusk. Bahamut will place both his hands, one on the pommel and one on the tip of the sword. Through the connection with yourself through the sword, you feel that there is an intense pulling, almost as if an aspect of the sword is being reabsorbed back into Bahamut. Once the intensity has worn off, Bahamut lifts his head and looks you in the eye and says, "The sword now trusts its owner. Whatever restrictions you may have felt it had in the past, there will be no more."
Ah, thank you, Barbara. This will be very helpful. I'm sure. Thank you very much.
He nods his head to you. And then he turns to Turygurtha. Turygurtha, you have had one of the most turbulent of lives up until now. There have been ups and downs and many actions in the name of justice that was vehemently untrue. But you have reborn yourself, revived and come here learning the ways of justice truly. And for that, I thank you. May your past truly be behind you. Consider yourself redeemed. Bahamut lifts himself up and takes a giant breath, blowing what looks like dragonfire over Turygurtha, engulfed in platinum flame. Turygurtha, how would you like to explain the rest?
So as like the platinum fire comes down, it kind of settles on Tury, kind of giving her almost a smoke. And as she sort of almost looks confused at first, and then something kind of tings in her brain. Her eyes go a platinum color with a reptile-like pupil for a minute as she blinks, and then they blink back to her regular eyes. And she smiles at Bahamut, kind of nodding, asking for permission, and I would imagine he would nod back. And she would just suddenly sprint to one side and leap and do a the old kung fu running in the air thing. But as she does this, suddenly these spectral draconic wings burst from her back and she flies around, looping back a little bit further away from you guys in the courtyard. And then as she lands, she starts a kata in her current style, which is very quick and snappy, kind of praying mantis and snake. And as she's doing this, the wings still bamfed out there. Suddenly, she goes into a much stronger style. She goes into basic kung fu forms, horse stance, crane, and eventually she slips through everything. If anyone's seen it, kind of like the sun dance from Avatar. And eventually, as she finishes off, she just wrenches her hands back down, and an enormous fire breath out to the sky goes round. But instead of a red fire, it's a platinum fire, like Bahamut. And she just brings it round and then settles down. Oh, okay, that's pretty fucking cool.
Wow. And Krusk, all you did was that you don't have to get beat up to use your sword.
Be fair, that'll be quite helpful for me to be able to swing at things first.
She looks up at Bahamut and she says, "Thank you so much to not have to rely on. Thank you."
Thank you. It is not an easy journey to redeem oneself, but rest easy in the knowledge that you have. In the eyes of justice, you are cleansed. Now, let's get down to business. Bahamut turns on their feet and beckons you to follow him into the rest of the temple. Do you
Follow.
follow?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Happy for you
follow
guys
him.
to talk, whatever, before you follow him. He's willing to give you guys space, basically, before.
Sorry, did you say we can ask him some stuff? Or
He's walking off to beckon you to follow, but you guys can basically talk amongst yourselves if you wished before you decide to follow him.
oh, okay. I'll just be like, Tury, what was that?
Yeah, definitely like what?
That was very excessive.
Are you part dragon now?
I don't know.
Talari just like inspects her and trying to look for like scales on her skin.
So what you will spot is her knuckles have just like scaly, kind of just around each of her knuckles, are slightly more scaly than it was before. Just all the way around, and she'll just go, he just taught me everything I needed to know.
To do what?
To not rely on the death cult's teachings.
I see. Well, good for you, Tury. As long as you're happy with it.
I can fucking breathe fire. That's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, to be able to truly put my past behind me, that's nice. Really nice.
Weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Can you like double fly now? Because you've obviously got the wings on your back and the boots. Does that make you go like extra fast?
I don't think so. I think it's kind of one or the other. I
Really?
would assume. I
And-
don't think I could fly any faster. I suppose it feels like the wing thing I can only really do if I push myself to my limits with my energy kind of thing. Whereas the boots I can just do all the time.
Oh, I see. So you know, one for more limited than the other.
Yeah. But I'm pretty fast, so it's not that limited.
True. Well, at least you don't have to worry about, your contribution to battles. I mean, that's certainly going to enhance your abilities.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like there's more to it, but I don't quite know what I'm dealing with yet.
That makes sense. Best not to dive in too deep too fast.
Agreed.
But we should probably monitor, check you every
Yeah,
now and
keep
again.
Keep
I
an
don't-
eye on me.
I mean, obviously, you've got some scales on the knuckles, and I suppose that kind of makes sense.
Oh shit.
But I thought you kind of do that with all your,
Mm-mm.
flourishing.
Okay.
But we may want to, monitor this and make sure it doesn't spread you, unless you want to become like a dragonborn.
Slowly turning into a dragonborn. Yeah.
But we might want to just make sure this doesn't go too far.
Yeah, we'll keep. Yeah, I think that's fair. Keep an eye on it. That sounds good. Shit. Well, at least it's only around the knuckles, right?
I mean, it
No,
kind of
that-
makes sense, I suppose, for someone who fights with their fists and be
True.
reinforced, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, yeah. It feels like maybe they're for something else. I don't know. Maybe there's a purpose to them.
Well,
I'll figure that out.
yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't know. This is new for me, that's for sure.
Yep.
I suppose we do want to think about how we're gonna best utilize our opportunity with Bahamut. After all, it's not every day you get to speak to a god in person. That's not trying
this
to
is
kill
true.
us.
Also very true. I think he is
If
in
he
the
wants
same
to help out
domain
in
as
the time.
Bane. Perhaps he knows or has seen some of Bane's goings on in that domain.
Maybe he
Or
knows who Bane's chosen is as well.
perhaps.
Possibly. I mean, we don't really have many other leads at this point. So, and maybe a direction to go. If you know how gods are, they're not very forthcoming with any kind of information.
He's been pretty good so far.
I suppose.
Throughout this entire conversation, Nadia was just like keeping an eye on him.
Well, hopefully. I guess we'll just find out. We'll have to wait and find out. See what he has to say.
Sure, he's a
Yeah.
good guy. He'll help us
Well,
if he can.
He will.
I mean, what
I
is he
think,
supposed to be? The
probably.
dragon god of good or something?
Yeah,
Yep.
before he had to take over Tyr's seat, so
Yeah, so now he's the dragon god of good and the god of justice. So
Yep.
you'd like to think, he'd be a little bit more willing to help us than, some of our other encounters.
I imagine he's doing a lot of spinning plates, so
Yes.
we'll see. But I'm confident he will help if he can. Okay, well let's see if he wants to answer those first two questions, and then we'll see if he maybe knows anything about the Chosen.
So yeah, so during the conversation, basically Bahamut's been off in a distance by the secondary entrance, up some stairs, in a distance, just watching and waiting for you guys to join him.
What does he actually look like now?
So it looks,
I'm guessing that he's turned himself into like a dragonborn or something because
it's a bit of a amalgamation of all the races put together. Essentially the way he wants to present himself is that he looks, if you see yourself in him, basically. So if you were you see like half-orc traits in him ever so slightly. You see elvish traits, you see human traits, dwarfish traits, in hints and in the nooks and crannies of Bahamut as the
I don't know.
mortal being, I guess. But they have platinum hair. They're about 6 foot in height, so quite a bit taller than the average mortal. But yeah, platinum hair, quite long, and they have just like a navy, like a light navy like surcoat on as well, that has the platinum dragon symbols all over it. Yeah, but they've been just standing there patiently waiting for you guys to talk amongst yourselves before coming back over to him.
Nadia has spent most of the conversation eyeing them suspiciously.
Whenever you've made direct eye contact, it just smiles back at you as
Like
keenly as they can.
Not like this.
But so you start to walk back towards him, and he goes, "Fantastic! Come with me, please," and opens the door to what looks to be quite. To be fair, gods are quite pretentious in their own way, in some form, and allow themselves some form of indulgence. And this room allows itself no other, where there is platinum dragon iconography everywhere. In the pillars, there is what you can imagine as the what we can translate as like the Eastern dragon, so like a worm, not worm,
Drake, or those long ones.
drake. Yeah, the ones that don't have any like legs, basically.
Yeah.
That's like they're swirling down the pillars in platinum fashion. There's like the European traditional dragon, which is more Bahamut's original form. But there's pretty much any kind of what you classify as dragon type as all over the iconography walls, and it shows that Bahamut takes pretty much as many shapes as dragons as they can, and there are all sorts of stories telling of Bahamut fighting multiple times a dragon of many heads and of many colors, what you can translate as Tiamat, um, the high dress with 5 heads. Um, there's lots of epic battles between them where like the world was torn asunder, and there's plenty of other dragons in and around that you can't quite identify where they've come from. Potentially, they might have just have perished and were chosen not to have been replaced during the Holy War. But this place feels older than anything else you've been in. It's been very well preserved, probably been around longer than even the capital has existed. But as you walk through with all the platinum dragon depictions, it leads you to a relatively modest throne, and before it there are 2 small pillows. He turns as you all come along. He turns to you all and he says, "Please, allow me just one more indulgence of drama. Turygurtha, please take a knee on this pillow. Krusk, please do the same."
Ooh, Krusk will look quite excited.
No
And,
question. Boom, straight there.
yeah, he'll take a knee as well.
Bahamut pulls out himself a long sword. This looks even more brilliant than Bahamut's breath. Like it is an extension of Bahamut's own like draconic claw. He goes to Turygurtha first. Turygurtha, do you wish to choose a life of justice, to follow my name, Bahamut? Do you wish to be champion of justice?
I do.
Bahamut takes the sword across each shoulder and once over the head. Then rise. Deslimir, first of her name, champion of Bahamut,
Thank you.
goes to Krusk. Krusk, do you decide to walk the path of justice, to act in the name of Bahamut, to follow in the path of righteousness? Do you wish to be champion of justice?
He looks like he wants to say yes, but he's just going to hesitate, and he's just going to say, Bahamut, I'd love nothing more than to be your champion, but when you say act in the name of Bahamut, there's a task that I must carry out. I want to return to Certes Deep in the future. Can I still do that?
That is a task of great difficulty, you understand, Krusk. I believe in that mission, certainly, but to do so require great care and perhaps cause much upheaval in this realm.
I see. Well, thank you, Bahamut, for saying you believe in my mission. And Krusk will get like a bit teary-eyed. Yes, I will become your champion.
Sword across each shoulder and one across the top. Then rise, Krusk, 15th of his name, champion of Bahamut.
Okay. Tury got the new.
She wanted one.
We spoke about it.
Very
Remember
yes.
that she might change it.
Well, it's, weapon of death. It's not really Bahamut's chosen. Guess that
Hmm.
makes sense.
I wonder how that works with the banks. Because obviously the banks use your.
Oh, don't know. We'll discuss it later. I'm sure it's fine. Ceremony.
Hopefully won't get Tury and Talari mixed up anymore.
If Talari continues talking, Nadia is going to reach over and put her hand not actually over to Talari's face because she doesn't load. Talari doesn't like being, but it's definitely a shut up gesture.
Okay, she'll stay quiet.
Shut up, Jester. If you carry on, I actually will touch you. You don't want that kind of threat.
Yeah, she kind of like jumps back a little bit at the fourth,
Yeah.
and just nods.
Let us talk then with kind hearts and warm minds. And he gestures, and behind you there's like a big round table with many chairs and lots of food available for you all.
Awesome. Krusk will sit down and start tucking in.
Tury will sit down next to Krusk. Not be immediately tucking in, but very minimally picking at things.
Nadia's still acting dead awkward.
Please, tuck in.
Talari's eating, but still trying to ponder the logistics of someone changing their name.
What? Some things are important.
He's like, oh, how does that work now?
You just fill in a form or something.
I don't know. I've no idea. Don't know how simple that is. But yeah, it's just really awkward.
So what's Tury's new name now?
It's the Zeldmere.
Okay, just update it on Roll20, and I'll read it around there. Bahamut. So Krusk will say through a mouthful of food. So have there been 14 other Krusks who were champion, or is this
You are the 14th champion, well, 15th champion of Justice, yes.
okay?
Well,
Are the
15th Krusk.
15th Krusk?
That's a lot of Krusks.
It's a pretty
It's a lot
common
of
name.
champions.
It's a common name, to be fair.
I didn't realize the gods had so many champions. We haven't met any others, have we?
The
Champions, actually, perhaps not.
I don't think a proper champion, right? Or if we did, we didn't know.
We've only met chosen, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, chosen and champion are different things. Yeah.
One's champion is often a well-kept secret between the gods. There are expectations of champions to see fit their god's mission, and of course, being on the mortal plane, your champions are subject to harder difficulties than if you weren't on the mortal plane. You are at the will of the other gods, and so if those who deemed evil against one's champion, then a god could do so if they so wished, via the other means of their own chosen champions or agents of other ilk.
You know the champion for other gods?
It is not in my knowledge, no, I'm afraid not. I was aware that there was a champion of Tyr before he passed, but I never got to know them. And once Tyr was gone, they rescinded their status with me as the new god of justice.
Is that we know who the champion of Merkel is?
Do you have a mission in mind for us, Mr. Bahamut?
I don't think Bahamut. I mean, Bahamut's his first name. You don't really say Mr. Krusk, do you?
Krusk probably would.
Yeah.
Krusk probably would.
That's very true. Yes.
I believe the correct term would technically be Mr. God of Justice, but Bahamut is just fine considering considering our relationship now, Krusk.
Oh. Thank you.
Do we have to call you Mr. God of Justice, or can we call you Bahamut as well?
You can call me whatever name you wish.
I mean, that's just okay.
That's generous.
Be
portion.
respectful, though.
Obviously, I'm you know.
Krusk is also shooting like
I'm
evil
not just
spirit.
talking to
Like-
you.
If you are able to find another god's champion and reveal their nature, perhaps I might be able to aid in their subduedness in some way. Perhaps take them out of the picture for a time, but that is a tall order in itself. In terms of a grand plan, I believe the task you have been on for a while is the task that we are all aligned on, and that is to remove Bane from the equation.
Have you have your own investigations pulled up any information that could be useful to us? We're kind of a bit of a dead end at the moment.
I, unfortunately, am limited in certain actions. As you can imagine, a god of justice wandering around the domain of war provides a large beacon for which to avoid. And if I was to go up to Bane's tower, any such evidence would likely be sequestered away from prying eyes. I can certainly go up to him and ask, but as to get any answer other than Bane is seeking tyranny and acting within their own nature is much to everyone's awareness.
Where is
What
this?
we,
Where is this Tower of Banes?
it is in the domain of war. Each of us gods have a residence, shall we say, in where we live in our domains.
Is there a way to get to this domain of war?
There's many, funnily enough. First, you could die, and hope that your god also resides in the domain of war.
No, mine does not.
But if there is a necessary way, if there is a necessary need, I can take you there, or even the capital priests make their way into the different domains as they see fit as well
How
in the capital.
do you think Bane would hold evidence of his plannings or his involvement in certain things going on in the ascendancy and the material plane? Do you think the only place he would hold that information is his tower? Do you think there is any chance he would?
We've already been advised to seek out his priest, his high priest, or his capital priest. They will know what he's up to.
Yeah.
They, on the mortal plane, are his chief confidant.
That's correct.
So,
Where they will be is either in the capital city or most likely in his city.
so it wouldn't be worth us going to the war domain, like around his tower. It's better to speak to one of his priests.
Would stick out like a sore thumb.
That's
I'm
also
pretty
true.
certain.
Very quickly as well. I
The
imagine
difficulty
a
you
sensitive-
have in the domain of war is that you are subject completely to the gods there.
So they could
And
smite us.
I mean, is there a way for us to
Probably wouldn't even have to bother smiting us.
yeah, is there a way for us to even the playing field between us and Bane? If it would come,
Right
if
now?
it comes to it.
right now, I would say not. But with the right help, perhaps.
And where would we get said help?
First, I believe you will need is evidence, further evidence of Bane's actions in the mortal plane. As you've eloquently put, his priests are his greatest confidants. They it is a different circumstance for many gods, but for Bane, he generally does not like disruptions in his plans. And if one of his chosen or one of his priests were to suddenly pass, leaving all secrets and memories in their own brain, that would leave nothing for the person next in line. And so evidence would likely be within them to make sure that certain procedures are kept in place.
And can't exactly
In
go
case
into.
of emergency, read this document. And it's just a list of all their nefarious plans.
Just somehow just conveniently tucked behind their liver, just in case,
Well, either that, or are we saying we need some way to extract memory? Some way
No,
to...
what he's saying is that in case the High Priest suddenly gets shanked, he's written it all down somewhere because there will be no way of retrieving his memory, and therefore his second in command, who probably doesn't know all this shit, has got to have some way of keeping the plans going.
The point.
I mean, there is a way to.
In case of emergency, read this document. We've just got to find the right sodding document. It won't be that difficult. There's just the entirety of Bane City to search, cellar by cellar.
I mean, I would imagine that the someone in that position would be fairly resistant to probing of the mind or altering of the mind, because I've got spells in that area, but I don't imagine any of it would work.
Also, if you start poking around the mind of his High Priest, Bane is going to look your way pretty fucking sharpish.
That's what but then aggravating him sounds like it was something that we'd want to do.
I think he's already pretty aggravated with us.
I think he's already pretty
But
pissed.
aggravated to
Didn't all the shouting give it away,
yeah.
Talari?
But aggravated to the point where he'll make a mistake or otherwise reveal something or himself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a worry that he might be pissed because he already doesn't like us.
No,
but it's
there's
pushing.
the issue is-
pissed. Talari's got a good point.
I think the issue is more how do we get one of the let's say we capture a high-ranking priest. How do we get him to roll and tell us, where to go next? I bet they won't.
That was not what he said. What we're saying is that there will be physical evidence of the plan
But I'm
somewhere.
saying, and that's short of searching every cubic inch of the city, it would be much better to ask someone, right, where it is.
Right,
no,
we
if
asked
we
someone
can-
where it is. We're going to get sent on a wild goose chase to bloody Glitter Gold Town or something stupid like that because they're just going to lie their asses off.
Yeah, but
Hence
Unless-
my original question of how do we ask?
We bloody
how do we
don't
ask
because
them?
it won't work.
I mean, like I said, okay.
Unless we cause the situation we're talking about.
What, shank somebody?
Ooh,
No,
assassinate the big guy.
no,
and-
no. If the High Priest is taken out of the picture, fake death, real death, whatever, then the second priest has to go find this document. If he is tailed, he will show us where it is.
That's a lot of moving
Very
parts.
complicated. We
Not
have
a
to
it
moving
identify
part,
them both.
but not a bad plan,
It's-
actually.
It's
I think it's too complicated. We have to
It-
identify them both, kill one, tail the other.
well, it's the High Priest. You don't
The
have
High
to.
Priest kind of
identi-
sticks out. They've
yeah,
got fancy robes.
you don't have to identify the High Priest. And whoever second is, I'm sure by finding the High Priest, we will eventually find whoever second is. And then after that, it is based on us
It's not a deputy high priest or anything, is there?
being very clever, fairly stealthy, and attempting ourselves not to get shanked in a city of Bane. So I'm not saying it's the best plan, but I just
Say
want to
plan.
put
Better.
it forward.
Say plan, yeah.
I mean, like I said, if they're not protected against mind altering, I do have a spell called Gears, which charms them to do whatever we want them to do. But and then on that, they are charmed and could take us to this information. Obviously, it would only last so long.
Matt, if
And
someone's
the sort of beauty of the spell is if they go against anything that we ask them, they get hurt, which I guess would kill them and kind of satisfy the other requirement. So
Matt, if someone's unconscious, can they let's say we knocked someone unconscious and Sunny gassed them, would they fail or do they still get to resist?
So for physical spells like a dex save, if you're unconscious, you fail. But for anything mental, if you're unconscious, your mind is still active, and so you can have the ability to resist as because it's the same. So if you're saying for the dream spell, you have to roll the right save to
Getting
activate the dream spell.
Gotcha.
So the mind is still protected if you're unconscious.
Okay.
And
It's actually
I
quite
mean, the thing is as well, like I
difficult
said, they
to
can just
think
be generally like mind protected, like me and Talari and Nadia are with their amulet. Like if you are a high priest, especially of one of an evil god, you're likely going to be protected of some.
Have some kind of protection, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
that's the problem. And an anti magic field wouldn't obviously wouldn't help because that would stop us as well.
Yep.
I mean,
I
and
think-
Zone of Truth is they're gonna be freaking lyrical ninjas, man. There's no way. A Zone of Truth.
I love that.
Li-
I mean, they don't have to answer right with Zone of Truth. They can just stay quiet.
No,
Well, exactly.
they can ignore us or just say, "I'm not answering any questions." No comment, whatever.
Or indeed,
Um,
screw you.
yeah, that's also. So I think it's fair to say though, even if we can't identify who the chosen is, we can identify the high priest.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at Bahamut now, and I'm like, do you think it is fair to say that even if they're not the chosen, the high priest would be knowledgeable about certain plans? Do
They have to.
you be- do you tell your high priest some conversation or decisions being made?
They are aware of what needs to be aware of, yes. And it is. I am much more forgiving, as you might imagine. I do not mind repeating myself in the rare case of someone passing away, but Bane certainly wouldn't like to repeat themselves.
I need to get into his head later. Sorry, what was that? What was that?
If we ever do end up in the fight, we're gonna have to remember that one.
I'm just
So,
thinking if there's obviously we've got Arthur's suggestion. I'm just trying to think, is there a less risky plan that we could take?
We're having a conversation. I see.
Yeah.
Think about Krusk. What's Krusk saying?
Yeah, Krusk is also thinking. I'm thinking as well. We're both thinking.
What's I think the point is this
Mm.
all starts whatever plan we have, it starts with the high priest.
But the thing
That's
is, we
true.
can't
Either way,
just
we need him.
but we can't just go there and make a plan. Not especially not in Bane City.
No, I agree with that. I'm not saying we do that. I'm saying it all starts with the high priest. So, out of all of us, looking at Bahamut again, the person with the most experience with high priests is unfortunately you. So I'm going to ask you, are they more protected than other priests? Do they always have a particular bedchamber? Is there somewhere in the church that they always are staying or sleeping or whatever else? Is it the same for every city? Obviously, we know that different churches look different ways, but all in all, genericizing it.
I would not like to hazard a guess, as it is very much dependent on the hubris of the high priests and the details of the god themselves.
I had a thought.
But
Okay, sorry.
I could perhaps enable a path for the high priest to be journeying along a certain route.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Sorry, what would you
Well,
summon the Bane Priest or?
Do we want the High Priest in person? I thought we wanted the information they leave behind.
Well, we want the information they leave behind, but I think what we're saying is if we have the person, we have a lead to the information that they'd leave behind.
Also, if we know where the High Priest is, we also know where the High Priest isn't. If the High Priest is walking along the road over there, we know that they're not in their house.
Also true. So this could be a two-part plan. One team goes and searches for documents, while one team tries to capture the priest. If one fails, the other has a chance to succeed.
Ooh, isn't that kind of risky, splitting us up?
That is
I'm not
kinda risky,
saying
that's
we
very
split
fair.
up. I'm saying we have 2 teams. We've
Ah,
hired people before. I know for a fact, no offense, Krusk, we are not the stealthiest as a full group.
No, we're not. I was actually thinking you would be on the stealth team, since it seems like your thing.
What I'm saying is, perhaps we get some help.
perhaps.
It's
Well,
kind of a sensitive
On
mission
the
though
other
to hire
hand,
what I
outside
was
help.
the thought I had, Arg is a high priest as well. If he was to organize, say, a meeting with Bane's high priest as high priests, that's
Mm,
one way to not
them
only
out.
isolate, but have an ally with us and someone who's obviously going to action immediately any evidence that we find.
I think I could read his mind, or would be willing to.
I mean,
Mm,
that's
It
not a
it's
bad plan,
puts
actually,
it would
Talari.
put Arg in a pretty difficult position if it fucks up,
no,
though.
well, yes, I wouldn't necessarily get Arg to do anything like that, but like I said, just to have a meeting. I mean, I mean, you can always question him as a suspect of, suspicious activity and just question him.
Vicious activity is basically his job.
Well, but if he finds some kind of official
Like those
reason,
bloody Merkel priests.
yeah, if he finds any official reason to hold a meeting with him,
Dodgy little shits is what
either
they're there
we
for.
can
You can't call them out on that.
either we ambush or, you know, do whatever we need to do.
Mm.
Us ambushing them on the road doesn't out Arg as our
No,
ally.
no, I mean if they're
Doing
not,
anything with him places him in a very awkward position.
but at least if Arg has him somewhere, preferably somewhere that we have a teleportation circle to, we can at least get there quickly once we have said evidence.
Hmm.
Yeah, true.
Okay. I think
Even
that's
somewhere
not a bad
neutral
idea.
like Helm. Helm is neutral, I believe. That's a pretty decent halfway point.
Mm.
And
I
we've
don't know
got the
anything about
circle.
neutral, by
We've
the
got
way.
the circle for it. So,
Okay.
and it's close to
think-
everything.
I think that's not a bad idea. So we take him. Maybe Arg can help interrogate him. Maybe not. And then
The
we can
issue,
maybe try and search the church as
yeah,
well.
because this is the issue still stands as Nadia says. Isolating him isn't necessarily going to solve a problem because he's not going to carry the evidence with him, especially if he's being questioned.
There's no way. Yeah.
So that means he would leave it behind and have somebody, most likely
Guardian.
his deputy, looking after it.
Okay.
But then the question still remains: we don't know where to look.
I mean, it could be. It might not even be on this plane. They could hide it anywhere.
That's very true. I mean, we've got bags of holding.
Yeah. We've got that little house as well. That's why really. I think you're right. I think we need to capture him, and I think we need Arg, or we need a way to force him to tell us the truth, even if it means you literally casting Gias each day until he fails.
I mean, the handy thing with the handy thing with isolating him is that if he does have any protection against being mind probed or mind altered, it's going to be in one of two things, or three things. Sorry. Either it's a thing that he has in his home turf that protects him.
Mm.
Two,
Mhm.
it'll be whatever myself and Nadia have, some kind of magical item on him
Amulet.
that's protecting him. Or
Mm.
three, some kind of magical spell or enchantment, of which we can dispel,
Or he has the blessings of his god.
which may be where our friend Bahamut here might be able to dispel,
Mhm.
potentially.
I don't think Bahamut's going to be able to interfere that
Bahamut
much.
interferes directly. He's outed himself as being involved, hasn't he?
We
Well,
wouldn't tell on you,
we
Bahamut.
just have to hope that the fourth one isn't a thing that's occurring.
Think somebody's going to notice that amount of power
yeah,
going
yeah.
around.
I mean, the hope there is that the further away the priest is from his home turf, the weaker that spell potentially is, because even a god needs a conduit.
The other thing we could possibly do is in Helm City. they're the city next door to Bane City. They may have information on any number of things that we don't currently have information on. Places we might want
Yeah.
to look for the evidence, places they keep their valuables. They're more likely to have details than
Oh
anybody
yes.
else.
My concern is, thanks to Thoradin and Krusk, we are pretty well known within the realm, especially to Bane and his followers. I would very much expect Bane to be going to all of his priests and his followers. Have you seen these people? Kill them on sight. So us entering their city either will immediately get us thrown into prison, or immediately attacked, or immediately watched constantly.
Or all three at once.
Or all three at once, yes.
Also, we're already being watched.
Well, at least from here we're safe, but yes, it is a
Here
concern.
we're probably not being watched, at least by Bane.
Which is better than, for the purposes of this, but that's my concern with...
However, in general, we're already being watched.
Oh, yes. But
No, you say that like, oh yes.
Yeah, we know
Do
this
you
already.
really?
That's why we've got the amulets. To protect.
No, physically being watched. We got the amulets. I don't know whether that watching spell has been cast since, but if you can't spy by magic, you spy in person.
Well, that's a separate problem. Let's do
And
this.
gods can't just, I don't know, look down from wherever at random. They've got to have something to look through.
Hold on. Bahamut, can gods look down from random? Just checking.
In essence, no. In the right occasion, perhaps.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, I mean, if we're being physically spied on, that's like a separate. I think we need to sort out. But in terms of this particular scenario, I would be very nervous just going to Bane City without something already in motion. Like I said, going there with the head the head priest not being there is certainly one of those things.
If we find information about Bane City and then form a plan to get us in there without, getting immediately attacked or arrested or whatever, there are priests of Bane in Helm City.
Yes, but they're not as predominant there.
Oh no, but they are a source of information.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because they'll have been in Bane City, and they would have been under, assumedly, the head priest.
And they're also certainly not infallible. Nothing prevents me from going and having a chat with one. I need to ask the method, but God is always a grandstanding asshole. The answer is, as far as I can tell, yes. That's his job, but nevertheless.
This is the thing. Just speaking to a traveling priest is probably not going to give us any information, because they're either not going to be privy to it, or, they just won't want to tell us.
But it could give us.
You still gain information from what somebody
details.
does tell you. Yeah.
Where do they
how,
sleep?
How we receive.
How do they travel?
That's also, if one of us goes and talks to them, how we talked to will still tell us something. Because if we go talk to a priest of Bane, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's you," we'll know that even priests outside the city know who we are on site. And if they're like, "Oh, screw you, I'm not talking to you," we know how they feel about us. If they're willing to talk to us, we'll know how they feel about us because they're willing to talk to us.
Did that not come back to your same thing though? They might lie to us. They might.
Absolutely cannot trust a damn word they say, but they will still tell you things.
That's kind of risky, because they could also then tip off the priests in Bane that, look, these guys who we hate have been coming around here asking us questions about Bane City.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say
directly.
Probably.
Yeah,
we want to avoid putting them on high alert, because that will make any kind of movement a lot more difficult. And if they're put on high alert before we've isolated the head priest, he won't leave the city.
Yeah. He's like, these guys have been asking about me, and I just got a summons to go meet someone.
Origin.
Don't just stroll up and be like, "Oh yeah, tell me all your secrets."
I think anything we ask them is going to look very suspicious.
Oh,
Out of
absolutely.
curiosity,
We would be exactly the same if Bay Priest even so much as looked at us. We'd be dead suspicious.
Yeah, best to stay incognito, I think.
Thoradin, you know how you had a like a contact inside Merkle City? You don't by any chance have one in Bane City or even Helm City?
A lot of people know me around the globe. You know, I'm a well-traveled man. I'm sure I can get some connections for us. You know, as much as we can plot all we like, we need connections. We need to pay someone off. But really, I just want to take him out.
I think the main thing we're talking about here is that we need intel, and we need intel on two things: the way the goings on of the priests and where the head priest is, where the second priest is, what they do, how they go about, when
Well,
they
if
eat, how they
we do
travel.
end up luring the head priest somewhere, we don't need to know where he is. We just need
No,
to
but
organize it.
we need to know how he travels. If he teleports, we're fucked.
As in we can't jump him.
You can't ambush
Yeah.
somebody on the road if they just blink from one place to
Exactly.
another.
So
I'm
we
sure
do
he
need
does
intel
teleport.
before
Why
any
wouldn't
of
he?
these. Well, he might prefer to travel. Teleport's
fancies
too
walking.
risky for him. I don't know. But the point is, either way, we need that
Yeah.
intel first.
Also worth bearing in
I
mind.
can get you the intel.
Also worth bearing in
Leave it to
mind
me.
that if he does travel physically, there's no way he's going to do that unprotected.
You'll
Hmm.
be well guarded.
Yes.
Or she.
What's the usual guard? Do they
Probably
use
depends
mainly
very
magic
much on the
protection, or
priest.
do
I
they
mean, I
use
would.
big bruises?
I would.
On the
What's the main
time of
focus?
like how elf favored they currently are.
I mean, I guess
mean-
that would be very god dependent. Who knows? With Bane, they might be just controlled by lesser demons. Who
As
knows?
long as we can actually encounter them, I'm not too worried about our ability to take them on. We did fight, like 5 waves of demons. But yeah, I think the problem is, like how do we? I find it very unlikely that he would just walk for days when he can just take an instant teleport somewhere.
If he can
So-
do
Well,
that, like
for
the
me,
priests
yes.
are normal people, right? Like they're not necessarily all Arg. Like Arg is.
Yeah, but you would assume they could have somebody to teleport them, wouldn't you?
I mean,
Oh,
they
do
probably.
pay?
They.
I thought they could pay for someone at the bank to do it.
Oh,
They
Exactly.
can.
yeah, that's true.
If you hark your minds back far enough, you do remember that the high priest of Tyr Town was going to travel to the capital city, and he sent many rumors of different ways of them traveling to the capital city. But eventually, you found that Arg was asked to have one of his other priests to teleport the high priest over, and you convinced Arg to teleport them to you in Kalimvor's island.
So they don't necessarily have. They can't just necessarily like ping themselves.
Okay, that's good news. Yeah, because like I said, if we can jump him, I'm pretty confident we could subdue whatever guard he's got.
Far be it from me to suggest we not go around hitting things with weapons. But I don't think a complete bloodbath will really suit our purposes there. Because if nothing else, it leaves the priest a hell of a lot of time to take to their heels.
Yeah,
Start
I mean,
screaming for help, or any number of other really problematic actions if what we want is to put a bag over his head.
If Thoradin can get intel from the city, I think that's what we do first.
sneak
And
into his home or
and then
something.
we decide what plan A, B, C, D is. But I think if Thoradin's contact can get the detail of where the document is, or there is a particularly interesting vault inside the church, or anything along those lines, I think we should get the priest out on a little diplomatic venture while we go in and find the document and try to avoid any of us going face to face with a head priest in any way, shape, or
But
form.
the risk is, like I said before, you're assuming it's in the church. It might not even be on this plane of existence.
That's why I want the intel first. Assumedly, based on Thoradin's previous experiences, the intel will be good, and it will
No, but
be.
say they come back and they're like, okay, there's a super special vault in the church. Then what do? I mean, we could go and look, and they might have other artifacts, but document might not be in there, and then we've tipped our
We've got-
hand.
We've got no way of knowing for certain. We're going to have to do something,
Also-
or we can sit here for the rest of our lives discussing various plans.
Well,
Well,
I think it would be better to do what Talari said and get the High Priest and somehow get the information from him, because then we know 100% this is where the document is.
Do you?
Do I what?
Do you know?
I mean,
They will have ways of lying. They will have ways of bending the truth. They will have ways of resisting any method of interrogation you could possibly put to them. And they, if they are anything like the person they serve, have an endless fund of absolute bullshit at their disposal.
I mean, there's magical ways to like read minds and stuff. I think if Arg can tell us, if we check with Arg and see is there a way, even if it takes time, to get the information from this guy.
The thing is, as trusting as Ark has been, involving him that far
That's true.
gets
Might
us
not be cool,
into
is
a
it?
criminal state of situation. And with all of our capabilities, I don't know if any of us are capable of completely and honestly getting the truth out of someone. Definitely, even if
Also,
we have a spell that can do it, they can resist.
they are the high priest of a god. They are one of the most likely people on this plane for a god to intervene on their behalf. At which point, Arg, as good as he is completely fucked.
They can't just smite
Because
people, right, on this
God.
plane.
No,
We're not saying
They
smite,
can't.
but they might be able to do something else.
But no, they can't. But if Bane goes to all the other people they're in contact with, oh look, High Priest's been kidnapped. Go, let's have a rescue mission, lads.
we'll certainly find out who his
Then
champion
half an
is.
army turns up outside the gate.
That's true.
We would certainly find out who his champion is very fast. Or he's
In
chosen.
my eyes,
I wouldn't
pre-plan,
bet on that one.
pre-plan, we find out intel from Thoradin's contact what they can find, because maybe, I don't know how good this contact is, but maybe they can hear enough whispers to go, oh, the head priest, they get out this document every like 7 daes or so.
Have to be a pretty good contact.
Yeah,
Well,
they
no,
may
no,
they may
no, I
already know.
agree.
They may
I
already know.
agree.
That's true, yeah.
I 100% agree. It has to be really, really good. If it is really, really good, we can go straight in. If it's not good enough,
Oh,
then we
no.
go to plan A, B, or C. Maybe tackle down the priest, see if we can get any more information from there, or if we find another avenue for getting more information without getting our faces seen by a head priest, who, on top of everything we just said, we are talking about going after a government official
It's
without
kind of illegal.
any
I mean, it's not like we haven't
legal
done illegal
reason.
things before.
Well,
Me
no,
and Talari were on the run for a bit.
I know. How good was that? It was
How many
shit.
problems did that cause us, Krusk? Because the answer is a lot.
I'm just
If-
saying there's a lot at stake here, you know. Doing something illegal isn't high up on my list of
Yes.
concerns.
Krusk, it's not the fact that it's illegal that's Tury's problem with it.
It's the consequences that come
It's
with
the
it.
fact that we'll then have the cops on us! And not just Bane's ones either. If we've broken the law, all of the legitimate law people will be after us with good reason.
We won't be able to get any help. Mistra will 100% be reasonable to back out of agreeing to help us with teleportation circles. Arg cannot fathomably show his hand in helping us in any way, shape, or form. We will lose all possible allies if we are seen doing illegal shit.
Can I ask Bahamut a question? I'll say Mr. Bahamut. Is there any kind of like common law in these lands? Like if we go to Bane City, can they just arrest us for no reason, or do they need to follow some kind of global law?
There's general truths
Mhm.
agreed between all the cities that any traveller that comes through your gates must be treated with respect and kindness no matter what.
Mhm.
And once you're in the city, that traveller also has the responsibility of ensuring that they don't also break the rules of the city. For example, in the port of Eldath being the god of peace and tranquility.
Mm.
If you were to enter as a member of, say, Krugek, for example, from the god of violence, and you were to start a fight in the port of Eldath, then you would be arrested for fighting, because that is a forbidden act to fight. But just for being a follower of Krugek doesn't automatically mark you as guilty.
So it's I mean, sort of OC. It's a bit like America, right? So you've got the overarching governing of laws, and then each state, which is in this case villages and settlements, have their own like individual laws. That's
it's like there's a baseline, and then each city
Yeah.
has their flavour of how they want to rule the specific.
So as long as we don't actually violate any of their laws, they can't just like jump us when we go.
we probably have to know what their laws are.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
I mean,
ask me,
bear in mind, Bane is the god of tyranny. In theory, that means we can do general
Is-
tyranny things.
In theory, surely that means his word is law. And if his
Mm.
word is, I don't like the Justice Collective very much.
Well, that's tyranny for you.
I mean, that's
Rule with oppression. I mean, that's
I'm
exactly
really
what it is.
hoping that's not like a legal law. I mean, I know our name's been going around a bit, but come on.
I mean, what's
Bahamut.
Well, why not? I mean, we've been ruining his plans. There's no reason he can't put a bounty on us.
No, I agree with that. And trust me, being that he's the god of tyranny, I can't imagine he has a law against killing either. So I have a feeling we're probably going to have Dagger's situation maybe while we're there. But depending on what his laws are as they stand now, we might be okay legally speaking. Whether or not we're okay violent speaking
I mean,
is a
the thing
different
is,
story.
I have a feeling that to achieve the thing that we want to achieve,
We're gonna have to break a lot of laws.
we're gonna have to do
Sneaking into
something.
someone's house and stealing their shit is
That we are,
genuinely
we are
illegal.
we are likely going to have to do stuff we're not comfortable with. Because
But-
if it was that easy, I could do it.
But if we're going to go in and steal shit, that doesn't necessarily mean anyone has to see our faces,
No, well, that's what.
nor our involvement. Capturing the priest or ambushing the priest means probably most likely people are going to see our faces, if not anyone except the actual priest themselves.
I think we're kind of going around in. I think we're kind of going around in circles.
I think
Yeah,
we've basically
I-
got two options here. We've basically got, which I guess we can do first, what Tury said, which is Thoradin checks if he's got contacts, check if they know anything about evil secret documents, and if they do, great, we go in and we like nick it. And if they
I think they
don't
got
know,
black spikes on.
yeah, if they don't know, then I guess Plan B is we have to lure the priest out and jump him.
Yeah, we have to just
Yeah.
do. We have to. The plan. Plan A
It's
has
a
to be
big book
basically done
for-
remotely though. Like as soon we can't enter the town. Like because otherwise Plan B won't work.
You know, it's a shame Giles not here because this is Plan A.
It
is,
would
like,
absolutely be
soon.
up his alley.
Into
Yes, it
really-
would.
Maybe we should go get him.
Should they? I mean,
I have no
maybe,
idea.
maybe,
I'm
maybe.
not kidding.
I mean, it could be that Thoradin
I
talks to.
don't know.
talks
His
to
last
Guile.
slice didn't go so well.
Well,
did
no,
it?
but if
Good point.
Thoradin talks to Guile, Guile could talk to his contacts in Bane City.
Thoradin's contacts and Gile's contacts were the same set of contacts.
Well, but Guile was
Same
obviously
people.
part of the Thieves Guild. You know, he was one of Mask's followers, so a little bit probably a little more sway.
saying.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
and-
not a bad idea. Right, okay.
So
Plan
anyway,
A,
that-
find information. Plan B, find information by slightly more violent means.
Think
Pretty
summary.
much.
Basically.
Anybody got anything they want to add to the plans?
I mean, in all honesty, that's pretty much our entire remit. A, try to do something nicely. B, do it violently. Yeah.
And we always
That's-
seem to resort to
Yeah,
B. B
Right.
happens all the time.
I bet we're gonna have to do Plan B.
Oh yeah.
That's how you get shit done in the
I mean,
world. That's how you get
sometimes
shit done in the
sometimes
world.
I do wonder whether we should just skip
I
straight to
do,
Plan B.
I do like to try Plan A though, just
not.
because there's a chance.
At least we can,
You're
case
saying
it
there's a
works.
chance. Okay.
yeah, at least we can say then that we tried
waste
to
of
be
time.
non-violent.
We're just really bad at it. I mean, have you seen us?
Yeah, exactly. Oh god. All right. I guess.
I have one more question for. Sorry, go on. I have a question for
no,
Bahamut.
mine was a summary anyway. So carry on.
Right, okay. So just for Bahamut, I'm just gonna say, Mr. Bahamut, are there any teleportation circles to this temple that you wouldn't mind letting me use? Or
Climb the mountain, Krusk.
There's only the normal way up, I'm afraid.
okay.
Climb
That's
the
fair enough.
mountain, Krusk. That's the
Well,
point of having a temple at the top of a mountain.
Yeah, for the people who work here. I'm sure there must be priests who work here.
But as champion of justice,
Ooh.
we are privy to a greater relationship than a chosen or a normal mortal would be. If necessary, you do need me, then I am just a quick prayer away.
Just don't annoy him as much as Krusk. Krusk. You know.
Please. Please, Krusk.
I have a
Don't
new friend.
ruin it.
It's Bahamut. This is so cool.
A hand on Krusk's shoulder. Please don't ruin it. If you ever fancy praying to him, come to me first and just double check what the reasoning is.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go say go ahead, or maybe just take a step back, talk to me about it first. We'll
Maybe we can have like a
discuss,
weekly
okay?
catch up or something.
Okay. If that's what it takes, sure.
Awesome. All right, Krusk is yeah, he looks pretty excited about that, so that's cool.
Um,
Krusk is easily pleased.
I have another question for you, Bahamut. We're now your champions. Our bond is stronger, so to speak. And you
That's
said
correct.
that we keep it secret, which is fine. But is there a way for people or gods to track chosen or champions of other people's gods?
I mean, if we could do that, we would have found Bane's champion or
They're gonna
chosen.
know each other's.
I think
Well, I'm
Bahamut
asking
said
if there
yeah,
is a
it's
way.
secret.
If
Doesn't hurt to ask.
if you know their name, then they can be found. There's a lot of power in the name.
No,
Prince, let
so
me know who
basically, you two don't tell
Merkle's
anybody
is.
that you're Bahamut's champion.
Yeah, Krusk, keep a fucking lid on that one. If you keep a lid on literally nothing else.
You can say we're the Justice Collective. You can say we're here for justice. Just
And I
don't.
say I'm friends with Bahamut.
No,
Okay.
no.
We
Alright.
give you.
Just carry on with that. You're a follower of Bahamut or something.
Okay.
You know,
If
but
followers
not
rose
like
up,
that. You've got a direct line to the man, to the thing, to it. I don't know.
Dragon
Oh,
God.
Talari. Not cool.
I don't. It's hard sometimes.
By the way, Tury, what should we be calling you Tury now? Would you like for us to use your new name?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I would.
Desi? Des?
Desmel? No,
The
Randomly
Zelda.
short, isn't it?
Dezel.
Dezel?
If my
Zel's
Draconic's
name.
correct, I think it means Dragon Guardian. Am I right?
It's an interpretation, yes.
You're my meat shield.
Depends on how you interpret it.
Exactly.
Dragon Guardian could also mean one who has a Dragon Guardian.
Or the
Um,
dragon's meat shield.
Bahamut, are we allowed to know how many active champions there are now? Is it just me and Dezel?
I think the whole point of secrecy is that maybe we don't even know.
We're not allowed to know either.
You are not alone.
Ooh,
That's
okay.
good.
That's good.
How not
Still
alone?
hope for the best.
Okay.
Talari,
Okay.
seriously?
Think that's all you're getting, Talari.
Practicing my information extraction.
On possibly the wrong person.
Oh, you know,
He's
you,
God.
you start off difficult, and then at the other end, it's going to be easy by comparison. You know.
Okay.
Okay, I think should we get Thoradin consulting his people?
Yeah, I guess Thoradin, how do you need to contact this person? Do you need to be on the outside?
I'll get my comms out. I don't know, Matt. I probably need to like be in the seat. I can't remember how it worked last time.
So at a very baseline, you're a man who knows how to get information.
Yeah.
You can, I think, at the very least, you can probably ask around Helm City, and once you have a definitive name potentially, then you can actually perhaps contact them directly from Helm City, depending on if they're willing. I mean, there was also the method of like post, so you can become pen pals for a time, to share brief information and like share money, for the right for the right price. Money information can be purchased. So I think Helm City, you can get the name of the contact, and then you can start the conversation from there.
Yeah. Back to
Yeah,
town. Then.
work with that.
Cool. So, Nadia, you wish to divine sense.
Nadia's been eyeing up Bahamut in a suspicious manner for the whole thing. I would like to use one of my new abilities. How badly is this going to go for me?
So, you know when you wake up in the dead of night, and you check your phone, and your phone's at like pure brightness.
Oh yeah, you're like, oh my eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that in terms of a sensory overload, where the celestial spirit of Bahamut before you is pure white light, and then you've got the actual ringing in your ears of the pure goodness that exudes from Bahamut's presence.
But given that I'm sat right next to a god, it's more like being stood next to a church bell when it chimes. Like
Yeah, and you've got secondary bells dinging off with Turygurtha and Krusk next to you as well.
Oh, it's a brick, isn't it?
Like almost kind of like all harmonizing in together. But it's to say you get a bit of a migraine from it is an understatement.
Yes, she's
The
absolutely.
intensity.
Been giving him a funny look for this. Basically, this entire conversation, but she's going like, oh.
We
Just
probably should have
flips
opened
back.
with that, right? Like to make
Flips
sure he was
back and
actually
then,
legit.
She can't control it.
No? Oh, fair enough.
See, she can't control it. I can obviously control it, but she can't control it. She's never done it before. It's taken it this long to rev it up.
Sort of figure it out. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Nadia, are you okay? You seem like you're struggling with something. You okay? Eyes hurt?
What's hurting? What's the situation?
Did you get some ice in your eye? Something?
Are you tired?
Okay.
Is the cold? Feels like temperature. Is the cold getting to you?
You're gonna do that thing where you're like, "Is it gone yet?" How long does it last? It's only 6 seconds.
Last
right?
an action, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not long.
As an action, yeah. So does it only last, or is it only instantaneous?
It's your turn action, so it'd be like 6 seconds. But it's
Yeah,
like
in that case, she's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be having words with Sylvanas."
you blink and you still see the lights in.
Yeah, like purple spots.
Yeah.
Okay. Just gonna put that to one side. It's what time is it? Is it in the evening now?
It is
or-
late. Yes.
Bahamut, I guess, should ask. Is there any chance there are rooms here that we can stay in?
We have
Or-
our own house.
I know. I mean, like, can we put our door here? Is that okay? We have a door that goes to an interdimensional space. We can just sleep.
I mean, if there are rooms here, we could just stay.
Yeah, we
here.
can
Well,
socialize, with the priest.
Also,
Chat.
correction. You three have a doorway. We kicked ourselves out of that.
Yeah. We'll
before
sort
we came
we'll sort that out beforehand.
Seems
We'll
like
allow
easy
you
to
back
start
in.
with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Couldn't remember if it lasts like at least a day or whatever.
Might be nice to chat to the priest if there's any around here.
I think it would be nice to meet people.
I might stay in the house. It's all the same.
Oh, that's fair.
There was that old man we helped up as well. We can go see how he's doing.
Oh, yeah. What's he been doing this entire? He's just-
Bahamut's a god. I'm sure he can be in two places at once.
Probably.
Can
You
you
can
be
talk
in
to
two
that guy
places at
and
once?
us. It's fine.
We work in mysterious ways.
Cool.
I'd like to meet the old man again, to be honest.
We'll go see how he's doing.
Gives to Bahamut gives you like a warm smile, and it's like, yeah, the old man.
He doesn't actually exist, does he?
Oh, was that
He was one of the tests, wasn't he?
was it you or was it just like an illusion, old man? Or was it an actor?
Well, you physically touched him, so.
Or it was an actor. Really? Krusk?
Well, that
Just
doesn't
pay a
exist
guy.
anymore. But fair enough. Kind of
Yes.
felt it had a very test feel to it anyway.
Yeah.
Right. I guess
As-
that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. Oh, I was looking forward to talking to him.
There are other monks and priests I'm sure we could talk to.
Is there actually? Have we seen anybody here apart from Bahamut?
You've seen perhaps maybe 2 or 3 at most
Right.
wandering around, taking care of the temple.
Right. Cool.
But yeah, so Bahamut stands, bows to you all, and wishes you all a good night. And
Oh, Bahamut, sorry, I need Bahamut, please. Could I trouble you for a reliquary? Just have you got any lying around?
This damn relic.
It's finally come to pass.
It's not too much trouble.
To be fair, like considering all the stuff, wait, Dazel? Wait, yeah,
It's
Dazel got.
Zelmir.
I think a reliquary is a bit better than just upgraded of the sword. You know.
I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to seem like I'm ungrateful. I just, if you have a reliquary, I'd love to have one, preferably in your image.
You really
but,
gonna nickname me the Zel? Is that what it is? Really?
I mean, it's
The
very
Zel?
long. I mean, we shortened Turygurtha pretty quickly.
That's true. That's true.
If you want to be Deseldmir, we can make the effort.
It's a lot of effort though.
So
So.
it's a lot.
Look, okay, you can keep it similar with Miri, I guess, or Desi. Like either works if that's easy for you guys.
Desi's cool.
I'm very used to hearing the E part of my name now with all of
Desi.
you.
Dizzy, Dizzy,
Desi.
Dizzy,
Desi.
Dizzy. We'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's all a learning curve.
I'll give you a choice, Krusk.
Okay.
You can either have this reliquary, or you could have a different gift.
Ooh, like a mystery
But-
gift.
Yes, but you won't know until later.
It's another mystery key, isn't it?
I think I'll look at Tury as my fellow champion. I'll be like, Tury, reliquary, or mystery gift. The mystery gift could be anything.
Oh my god, we're
Yes.
playing deal or no deal now, aren't we?
This
It could even be a
decision-
reliquary.
Yeah.
This decision can only be yours. Go with your gut.
Oh man.
I mean, our character, the reliquary, means I can summon yet another thing, which means I can now summon. I'll be able to summon 3 things if I get that.
Clog up the turn order even worse.
What, more than
Which is quite
Thoradin and his
funny.
berserkers?
Yeah, well, exactly. With both of them going at it.
the funny
The
thing
next,
is-
our next combat will take 4 sessions.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is they're all quite different. You haven't seen the new thing I can summon, which is also quite funny. But yeah, I'll wait for that.
Do we want to?
Do you feel like you need
Do we need to be
Osie,
able
do
to
you
summon this
really
goddamn
need
thingy
to
that you
summon
need a
anything else?
reliquary for?
I think Krusk is just trying to recreate, like a group of friends by being able to just summon
Oh my god.
Oh,
lots of things.
Oh, Krusk!
that's so heart wrenching.
Poor
I'm just
little
trying to
Krusk.
create a group of friends.
I think
Wow.
We're not good enough, obviously.
No.
this is prepping for when you guys, bow out of the JC.
Inevitably leave you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, fellow champion, I'm sewn in now.
Yeah, I think you're stuck with.
That's true. No, that's cool. That's good. And I can create everybody else in various forms.
Oh my god. Oh wow.
I mean, there was a spell which let me summon ghouls, but I didn't think Krusk would have that. So anyway, Mr. Bahamut, I think I would like to go for the mystery gift, please.
Very well.
Thank you.
Turygurtha, you will also find another gift tonight.
Oh, thank you. And she gets a bit closer to him just before he leaves, and bows her head and just whispers, "Really, really, thank you. I didn't get many good opportunities, and I'm glad you gave me one. So thank you."
You've earned this, Turygurtha. Well, you've earned this, Zelda.
Trust me, I'm going to have to get used to it as well.
You've earned this.
Thank you.
And Bahamut will leave, leaving you to your evening. Another priest will come round. A golden dragonborn will come round and offer you places to sleep, if you so wished. When you go, if you do follow him around, they're quite bare, to be fair. Basically, just like dorms with with just a sleeping mat and a small like bedside table. They're not luxurious of any kind. If
Yeah.
that changed
One,
any of your
one,
minds.
one look at that and Talari's like, definitely sleeping.
I'm having my nice mattress and my
Yeah.
nice interdimensional hat.
Yeah. But you know, you guys can do.
If there's other priests about, then yeah, Krusk will just want to. We don't need to RP it, but he'll just mingle, chat with them.
Hang out,
Yeah, I
chat.
think
There.
Tury will, with kind of like with Krusk, like partnering up and meeting people and that kind of thing.
They're cute.
The priests will like treat you like a brother or sister, and they also greet you with titles. So brother Krusk and sister Dezeldmir.
Krusk, Krusk is obviously really happy about that.
But
Old Krusk.
I think Tury's probably quite surprised at how happy she is about that.
but yeah, they will happy to entertain you guys and talk and chat. But yeah, and so just so for Thoradin, Nadia, and Talari, do you guys go into the interdimensional house, or do you force Talari to be here instead? Because you three need to all be in or
Oh,
be out
man.
together.
I'm not staying in this temple. He doesn't like Bahamut, so I'd rather go to the
Oh
house.
yeah, you two have yeah.
I didn't want to bring it up and cause, some
Yeah.
anger, but
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't want to cause confrontation.
Where have you
But
got
yeah,
Bahamut?
Yeah, because remember they had
He's
a
been
he had
very
a dream
misty.
and he refused and he got charged
Oh
at.
yeah.
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 So they're not on talking terms really. So
No, that's fair. Very fair. What's Nadia gonna do? She's gonna stay in the thing, or
If the other two really want her to, she will, but she obviously isn't happy about it. She'd rather be in the temple.
yeah? I mean, you're clearly you've spent enough time with Talari to know she does not want to sleep.
Oh yeah, because it's a public dorm as well.
Yeah.
Actually, you could just take me off the key as well and just have the two of you for the night.
How long does it take to do? I can't. It's probably an
It's not
hour,
a
isn't it?
difficult process.
Pretty
is it?
instantaneous.
Oh, is it? Okay.
You all just link hands.
Fair
You've
enough.
just got to
and then-
agree. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously up to Nadia what she wants to do.
Yeah, she would totally stay at the temple if she
Okay.
could, because that she doesn't like the demi-plane. It feels too empty.
That's fair. Then yeah, we'll
Fair.
detach Nadia from it and then.
Sure.
Talari.
Cool. So you go back to the demi-plane. Talari, you open the gift.
Yes. So yeah. So the way I wanted to do this was obviously that she received that gift from well, what was Tury? 5 days ago? And
Well,
3 or 4 days.
3 4
Yeah.
days
I
ago.
think it's more like 3, yeah.
But as soon as she got it, she put it on the table in her room, and just basically just looked at it. And like the first night, that's all she was really able to do. She couldn't bring herself to open it. Sort of the next day, she was able to kind of like walk up to it, but then still wasn't like in a position to open it. The next day, she managed to take the ribbon off of it, but that's about as far as her thing would take her. Because I mean, the reason that she's so apprehensive is one, obviously, that it's a direct gift, and the other is that Desi said to it more about like obviously it's about when her child comes back, which makes it a little bit more heavy for her. But then obviously tonight, with everything else that's gone on, climbing the cliff and stuff, she feels like she's ready to finally take the lid off, or whatever it is, open that packaging and see what's inside. So I don't know if you want to mention what it is.
yeah. So it's a baby blanket. But the first thing you sort of notice is it's a tiny bit heavier than most baby blankets, not by much, but a little bit. And it feels incredibly soft, but as you lift it, it clinks. It's a silvery blue color, and on closer inspection, you can see that there are very incredibly tiny stitchings of metal thread and an engraving in I think in probably in white is just Zilvo on like the bottom left corner, and it's an adamantine blanket, so you can probably tell the kind of metal it is. So it's very protective, that kind of thing. I can't remember exactly what adamantine is, but I'm pretty sure it stops crits.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So basically, protection for the baby. But yeah, it's very soft. It feels like a modern day kind of soft blanket. And yeah, it's that bluish metallic color and white silver on the side.
So as she picks this up, her hands are sort of trembling, and she basically holds it in her hand, sort of drops to her knees, kind of hugs this blanket. And I guess, I mean, this is, bear in mind, going to be quite late at night because it's after her trance. But she will be you'll hear her crying from downstairs for the rest of the evening.
Oh, poor Talari.
And that was very cool. That was a very cool thing, gift-wise. Very good.
Rather than Rain Temple.
Yep, a very sweet gift. So
Tury is cute.
the day rolls around, and we could say that you all manage your long rests, but for Delmere and Krusk, your rests were slightly delayed from all the talking that you got up to with the other priests. But when you wake up when you are awoken in the morning, and they invite you to take part in the preparations of the day for the temple, if you so wish to take part.
Poor Nadia left there like a spare part.
Do you wish to take part as well, Krusk? Is he still away?
Might be.
Might be still away. Cool.
Wait,
Well,
wait,
we'll
wait,
say
I would
it's
assume
like
yes.
7.
we'll,
I would
s-
imagine
we'll
Most
yes.
say yes.
certainly he will.
We'll say yes on his behalf.
Poor Nadia's been left there like a spare part.
You are offered to help if you wish as well, but it's a more of a you kind of feel more of it's a courtesy considering your part that you with them rather than it's anything else.
Not her temple, it wouldn't be right.
That's it. Um,
She doesn't
but cool.
mind being a spare part, it's just funny to me.
Sure. But yeah. So and the preparation. So they give you like a broom and to sweep the main temple area of snow, and just to make it it's clean and tidy, and the by the time breakfast comes round, you're all up and awake and provided a relatively modest breakfast. It's nothing flashy, nothing exorbitant, nothing really exotic on display here. It's the food is nice, it's hearty, it's warm for even though you're in the temple, a cold breeze still does cut. Winter is still here for you all, but it is warm food, porridges, stew, with some light fruits to sup on. But yeah, so you are still on top of the ancient temple. What would you guys like to do?
Like teleport back to Helm City rather than going down the mountain again. Sort of edging toward, like, specifically sort of nudging Krusk. Like, can we just? Don't really feel like going down the cold again.
No, this should be. Do we need to say goodbye? Or
Oh
think-
well, that's up to you guys. I suppose.
I think we should probably say our goodbyes, Krusk. Just
okay.
come
But
on, see.
Forget
Yeah,
to book
we can
a slot.
teleport back to Helm. I guess you want to go.
That would probably make the most sense, I guess. Thoradin, does
Mhm.
that work for you in your contact?
Yeah, that should be fine. I didn't see why not.
Yeah, let's go say our goodbyes then, and then I can teleport us back.
You book a slot.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
I text them book a slot.
Might have to wait
So-
till tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the next available slot is at 6 p.m.
Oh boy.
and you've just woken up. So it's around 8 a.m.
Okay.
roughly.
Mm.
We just woke up, had breakfast. It's about 8 a.m.
That's fine. Take the slot. It's really great time here, guys. You're gonna really love it.
We could do some sparring or something while we wait.
Yeah, I need to looks at her knuckles. I need to practice a couple things.
Did we get the mystery gift from Bahamut, or is that when we leave?
We'll discuss that
Oh,
later.
okay, fine, yeah.
But you would have had it
Yeah.
after the night.
Mysterious visitation in the night.
That's fine.
I was just thinking, like, Desi. So sorry, it's gonna get very. Take me a while to get used to that one. But if you are really wanting to, like, try out your new abilities, I know can we use the house again? Can't, can we?
Yeah.
Okay.
We use it as much
Your
as you
house.
like.
You can
Is it infinite?
in and
I
out
thought
as
like it's
much
only
as you want.
once per 24 hours or something.
No, that was just the ring
Okay.
of
Fair enough.
the house, whatever.
you-
Tiny hut.
The key, we can just jump in and out all day if we
Fair,
want.
cool, that's handy. You may want to do it in the house so that if you do lose control of it and you break something, at least you're not breaking the temple of your god.
Yeah, it just like mends itself. It's creepy.
That's
Yes.
a good point.
On
And
the other hand, they might have a sparring area.
and also, like, because it is our house, you can form any kind of target you so wished, of whatever size, I guess.
Sure.
If you wanted to, I don't know, make a mannequin the size of the greater lesser demon, or a Arcanaloth, or one of those now fashionees, you can just do that.
That's a good point. Quite like this idea.
I'll help you practice if you like.
No, I think I'd like to just have the training dummies. Thank you, Nadia.
Sure, Thoradin will be happy to spar
Again.
with you, Nadia.
Just yeah, you guys do whatever. But
I'm gonna summon Bahamut. to fly around a bit.
More Bahamut.
More Bahamut.
Yep.
Are you actually going to
Bahamut
call him
Junior?
Bahamut in
Bahamut
Bahamut's stomach?
II.
Yeah, his name's Bahamut.
Oh,
Can we
man.
please reference him as Bahamut Junior or something? Because that's going to get really confusing.
Like that kind of is disparaging him.
Is it?
Maybe I should ask Bahamut.
Yeah, you might want to ask his
It's
permission
okay.
while we're here. Like,
Yes,
we call him
maybe
Bahamut.
you should. I don't really want to be there for that conversation, though.
Yes, I've got this dragon.
Drag that looks a bit like you.
Alright, I'll call it alright, we can call it Bahamut Junior, I guess then. Distinguish it from the god.
Just a little bit, just necessary.
We just call him Junior then to shorten it.
Junior?
Junior.
We can call him Junior.
Alright, I'll summon Junior and fly around with him. In the house, that is. We've got like a big area, haven't we? So
if Bahamut can land in his dragon form, I'm sure you'll be all right in that courtyard.
I think if we.
then if Tury's going in, we all have to go in, right? So I'll
Oh,
just
into
go
the
in.
house. Yeah. Well, technically no, but yeah, I suppose.
No.
I thought we all had to go in.
Well, it's whoever's
o-
linked to the key.
Only if we all link up.
Okay.
Which, to be honest, we could all link up. I can't imagine anyone apart from me and Krusk care about the temple.
Might as well just link back up.
Talari
So
will
now-
use any excuse to go into the house and not stay in the temple.
Yeah.
Should we all just go in the house then?
I will
Yeah.
say the sparring ground, what Tury imagines is a massive sparring ground with a greater lesser demon dummy and a Losius dummy that looks really like a Losius.
Fucking creepy though.
Yeah, creepy, but yeah, she needs that. And probably the death cult guy that we got imprisoned. What was his name?
Potato man.
Oh, well,
John.
John.
On
No,
the necromancer.
no. It began with M, like the leader of the death cult.
Oh, Matthias.
Matthias, that was it.
Matthias.
Yeah, Matthias. I'd have Matthias one side, Aloysius, and then just Great Lesser Demon for a bigger enemy.
Nice.
We seen the last. When was the last time we saw Aloysius? Because at first he was going to try and kill us, right? But I think he's given up.
Which one's the
now.
potato? One of the. I keep forgetting which one's the
I think
potato.
John.
John's the
It's
potato.
John the
John.
potato.
John's the
John
potato.
the necromancer got turned
Okay,
into
got
a
you.
potato.
Yeah. So yeah.
And Aloysius is the one who hates me. But we've
Yeah.
not
But the
We've not
last,
heard
the
from
last
him
we
in
heard
time,
from
so-
him was the
Was
the guy that
Merkel
was
City debacle.
yeah, the guy that was like just like calling out for you, that worked with him,
Maybe.
Oh, I forgot
On-
about
on the
that. He
contract
was looking
maker,
for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and that's
But
like
then we
literally.
never heard from him after that, did we? So yeah, I
Mhm.
think
Yeah,
it's resolved now.
Krusk, we really got to talk about your kill list because a lot of people are thinking about killing you.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just used to it at this point. I think
Comes with
yeah,
the
when you
fame.
die-
Comes with the fame.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not like I want to die, but I wouldn't say I'm
Again.
afraid of it. So yeah, that's true. Again, yeah.
For
Yeah.
the third time, no less.
God.
I just figure, you do the right thing, and if you die doing it, you die doing it.
It's a way to think.
Mhm.
I prefer
Certainly.
not to
Nadia
die.
thinks Tury's training dummies are the creepiest shit she's ever seen.
Hyper realistic. Like
Oh,
And you
yeah.
hurry up and
You know.
destroy them already. It's
Yeah,
so hard.
hyper realistic, and
Yeah.
she goes to town on Aloysius.
I guess made out of wood.
Town.
Like I guess. I suppose
I
for training
think
dummies.
Straw.
Yeah.
Yeah, wood.
Straw. Wood.
To be
wood
fair,
straw.
I mean, you can get like meat from the stores.
No, that's
put
no,
meat
that's
over
too
it.
far.
Don't waste the food. Don't waste the food. Thoradin would not be
That's
happy.
too
Yeah,
far.
I would not be happy. Seeing our food
I
wastage.
don't think she would bother with that.
God.
no.
But again, like,
Yeah.
it could be anything really. Like, if you wanted to like really test it out, you could upgrade it to stone, I suppose, or depending on how much you want to batter it.
Interesting.
Bahamut's suggested a good name for Junior, by the way, so I'll use that. Tamirand.
Come around.
Yeah.
I like that. It's cool. I'm gonna make the greater lesser demon one, the massive one, out of stone.
The
just
goal.
because the goal.
Yeah.
How many
Oh, well, you know what Bane looks like actually as well. You could, in theory,
Make an effigy.
Make a
of
Bane.
Knock that head off.
That's your goal, isn't it? Like a big thing of Bane. Because we've seen
I
him.
think she wouldn't make Bane.
No? Okay.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah, there's too much
Nah, that's fair.
fear there, I'd say, to make Bane.
Fair.
Too daunting.
But then obviously the same goes for Thoradin. Like if he ever wants to train, or Nadia or anybody, you can just make whatever.
Make the house like a little sparring arena. Yeah.
Okay. So you train up, get your sparring in, get your dummy bashing in, and finally await the right time for you to finally teleport your way back to the city of Helm. And when you go back, you're not greeted by an Acanaloth this time, you're greeted by a dwarf woman. She goes, "Hello, welcome to Helm City. Is this your first time here?"
Nope, we're just returning.
Ah, fantastic. And then Helm City is yours.
Ooh.
So, next time on the Ascendant Lands, what information can you get of Bane City? Can you successfully get the use of Plan A without reverting to some means of violence? Who knows? And next time on the Ascendant Lands in 4 weeks' time, we'll find out.
Nice.